All right. Well, Justin, good to see you, man. Happy Tuesday. Just how are things going?
They're going great. Yes, sir. I just got back from the gym over down, so it's going good.
Awesome.
Topera.
Yeah, love to hear it, man. I see you've been doing some golfing and skiing into pools and stuff like that. Is how is life in general right now?
That's great, man. It's really, really fast and then really slow, and I love both of them just the same. I love when the fights are coming. All the tension's on you, but as soon as the fight's over, you get to go away and kind of be forgotten, and that's a nice part too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, are these some things you've kind of been trying to get around to some fun activities during a break like this between fights?
I mean, I'm crazy. I'm always looking to do some crazy things. They bring me to the Utah Olympic Park. I'm gonna jump off things and try to ski into a pool. That was almost a terrible mistake, but I made it. I made it in the water at least. So yeah,
Yes.
I mean, the fun parts. I mean, the refurbishing gyms, the going to do, a celebrity golf tournament to raise some money for first responders and police officers. Like these are all things that are part of my job, and I got the best job in the world.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I know you got the nose fixed up recently. How a couple months now it's since it happened. How are you feeling? You feel like a new man with that thing?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. You never know how much. It was 13 years, so obviously at the beginning, I'm sure it was like I was young. I was probably 20, 19, 20 years old when this happened, so nothing mattered at that moment. Just compete and go. Beat this guy. That's all that mattered then. But yeah, as I got older, it's just unbearable. So it was a natural break. I lost, fought for a title, fought for a huge fight. Took some big shots. So yeah, these breaks are something that we get as opposed to other athletes. The human body is resilient. I gotta give it time.
Absolutely. And it's always good to breathe, right? I'm sure that's a nice luxury you got now out of the nose.
Breathing. I never knew. People might think, but the food is really good. Food anticipate my food. People don't stink, but that's my joke. I'm like, damn, you guys stink. Or just
It opens up a
when I
whole new world.
smell myself, there's a problem. When I smell myself, there's a problem.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, awesome. That you can do that now. And of course, Justin, you mentioned the Modelo stuff. You got the T-shirt on. Great beer, of course, and very cool stuff that they're doing with all these projects and whatnot. So obviously, you talk about the refurbishing gyms and whatnot. What Tepera Boxing Club, if I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah,
Just like, how did this whole thing come together, man? Like, why do this kind of thing? What does it mean for you to be able to do these kind of things in general?
yeah. Giving back in general makes me happy, brings me peace. Can't harp on it enough. My degree in college was human services, social work. So anytime I can give back, it's just a piece of what I was aspiring to do my whole life. Now I get to inspire through fighting, which is a little bit weird, but it is what it is. The fighting spirit, not where you're from, it's what's inside you. Like these are all, Modelo, their mission statement is who we are as fighters. Doesn't matter where you come from, it's matter what you're made of, brewed with the fighting spirit. I mean, these are all things that if you can make each one of those, like, put it on your wall and just follow. These are life statements. Easy ways to hold yourself accountable, to be responsible, and to have confidence in your preparation. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, was this kind of thing, getting to help out in this way, something you kind of ever imagined being possible when you got into? I mean, you just said right there, something you always like to do, no matter what the career path, right? But did you
Yeah.
imagine with a brand like Modelo, for example?
No, of course not. I mean, just as much more with the UFC, with rebuilding together. I mean, and Modelo. I mean, these are all opportunities that, of course, I could have never, dreamed of. To be able, to have aspirations to work in social services is the ability to help people, and I get to reach across the world with things like this, with platforms like this. Now I'm inspiring people from across the world. I get messages from across the world daily, and no, I could have never dreamed that I would be able to experience that.
Yeah, man, very cool that you get to do it. And I mean, it's how difficult kind of was this recent project specifically? I mean, in terms of refurbishing a gym and whatnot, obviously you've been around them for your whole career now, but like actually doing something like this, like the difficulty of it.
Um, Dude, when you're working with rebuilding together, Modelo and the UFC, everything's handled. Everything was at the gym. We had to hang up some bags. We had to, put some gloves, organize gloves. They got gloves, they got bags, they got all kinds of different styles of bags. Um, they're gonna paint the walls. They haven't done that yet. But I mean, nothing. I thought I was gonna be there all day, but I wasn't. So it was much easier than I thought it was gonna be.
All right, there you go, man. And do you have any
Yeah,
ideas of?
they had it handled when I got there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
On top of it, love to hear it. So like, does that make you think ahead to the future with like more types of things like this, or is it just like whatever comes, kind of go with the flow, or how do you kind of map out doing this kind of stuff?
Wait, so this was essentially through the UFC
Mm.
with the UFC. Modelo, Modelo's been part of the UFC for 5, 6 years now, at least, probably longer than that. Time flies, but yeah. I mean, I'm looking for every opportunity I can get, obviously. But Modelo and UFC are going to do great things for this community, and they're doing so.
Yeah, man, absolutely great stuff there. And just speaking of opportunities, as for your fight career, Justin, like obviously last time we saw you was Charles Oliveira. Didn't get the win, unfortunately, but always fun fights with you, man. And we remember kind of the famous quote that you had of saying you have what, like 5 more wars than you. That was after, I don't remember which fight, but earlier on in the UFC career.
That
Okay, so yeah,
was after
everybody.
I had 4 or 5 left, and I think I've only had one. Chandler maybe is like a 20%. With the one shot that Tony landed, that's maybe 40. So I'm at like 1.5 so far.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of curious.
2 to 3 hard fights that whenever I would rather live than compete anymore. But that's we're nowhere near there.
Okay. All right. So that's what I was checking at to see what you kind of qualified as how many you'd gone through since that point. So we're not getting too close, which is good to hear, man. And I remember you were saying thinking to return
Oh,
maybe around the start of next year, but just kind of taking it day by day at the moment. I mean, the division's very kind of busy with things, so you kind of have to wait anyways,
yeah.
don't you?
There's 3 big fights, going on: the championship, Benil Gamrot. You got Chandler Poirier. Someone's got to fight the winners and losers of all these fights. I don't think I should fight the winner of the title fight, but I can fight the winner of any other, of those fights. I don't want to fight Benil. Um, but ideally, Poirier beats Chandler. I'd like to fight Poirier. I mean, he beat me. That's one win I'd like to get back. It was fight of the year, fight of the deck, fight of a couple years probably. It was a hell of a fight. Um, so yeah, that's ideal. Like internally, that's what I want. I'd like to get that win back. He's ranked, number 1 or number 2. I need 2 to 3 wins to get back to the title shot. So that would be ideal. I told him I'm ready next year. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man, definitely. Just a waiting game and kind of all the exciting options out there for you. And, since you last fought too, Justin, I know you were at Kamaru's last fight. Good buddy, good teammate, right? And unfortunately, he lost as well. But, it's a different kind of thing for him, right? He's never been knocked out like that. As only his second loss. And just kind of curious, I'm sure you've talked to him about, kind of things after and how to come back. So, like, what kind of advice, did you give Usman after, a tough loss like that?
I mean, he's number 1 pound for pound. There's no giving him my advice. I'm there as a friend, as a teammate, and my job is to remind him that when we were kids, we got caught on our backs, and now we get caught on our chin. It's the same game. When we got caught on our back at 6 years old, it was just as devastating as getting caught on our chin now because we knew nothing then. That was our life. That was everything then, and we've been devastated. Multiple times in our lives. You don't get to this spot with 100% success through your whole life. He has been pushed. He's been broken before. He's broken himself. And so, yeah, there's nothing to tell him other than just to remind him that we've been here. This is what we do. This is who we are. This is what we've done since day one.
Definitely, man. And, you were on a great winning streak of your own, right? You were like 18, 19 and 0 undefeated before suffering the first one. And, he had a very similar lengthy streak as well, despite the early loss in his career. Did you feel any pressure, at that time during your unbeaten streak? I know everyone talked about it with Habib as he got more and more wins, but like, did you feel anything like that as you just were undefeated for so long?
I mean, it can be, you can allow it. it's all about what you're going to allow to affect you. That was never a thought of mine. Um, it's not so. I mean, there's he lost more than being, just because he lost pay per view his next fight. You know, ultimately you're going to look at the impact that it has. Fight. If we do this. This is our job. This is how we make a living, and it hurts the most that you're going to financially be, not as rewarded next fight because of 1 minute in time. You won most of the fight. That's hard. That's hard to come to terms with, but he's the best in the world. And again, we both understand it's not the beginning. It's not even the middle anymore. Like it's not the end, but we're on the downhill of our careers. There's no doubt about that. I don't want to fight till I'm 40. He doesn't want to fight till I don't want him to fight till he's 40. So I think he's in a great spot. I mean, he's going to come back, maybe fight this guy in London. He's better than him, and he should win. The reason why we're all such huge fans of this sport is because of the unpredictability at any given moment. And when you're on the other side of what he just experienced, best feeling in the world. So and that's what we're all there for. He has the chance to go out there and get that feeling back in whenever he fights him. So I think he will.
Yeah, man, very excited to see it, and always excited to watch your fights, Justin. Like pre-UFC, you've been one of the most exciting guys ever, I would say. And when we look at those fights, the Palomino ones kind of stand out for you. Those wars. Would you say that there was one pre-UFC though that kind of stands out as your toughest fight or opponent?
Um, I think my first three fights are the most exciting fights. The Johnson, Alvarez, Poirier. I think those are the most fun fights. But I mean, in my first 7 fights, I got 9 bonuses. I am the most exciting fighter that's ever stepped in there. Based off numbers,
Right.
based off feeling that I give 100% of the people that come and are in attendance every time I fight. So I was born in Tucson, raised in a small town in Arizona, raised in, my nana raised, was my babysitter. My culture is who I am. When you think of fighting spirit, you're talking about Mexican boxers. That's who we're talking about. And that's who I am. That's how I fight. You can say I'm brewed from the fighting spirit because, that's what I do. It's who I am. It's what I've done since I was a child. It's what Kamaru's done since he was a child. And I'm glad that there's people that recognize and enjoy it because without that, this would be for naught.
Perfect way to go full circle there, man, with the the fighting spirit. Well said indeed. And I appreciate the time so much, Justin. I'll leave you with one last thing here before I let you go, though. I'm curious, man, because you have fought so many amazing opponents in your career up until this point. Is there anyone that's like a dream guy that you want to fight that you haven't fought yet? Or is it just like whoever comes, you're down for it?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, is there guys that, yeah, I want to fight guys with, big names, but, I'm also in a position where I can fight guys that don't have big names. I mean, I don't know. There's 2 ways to look at it. I mean, ideally, you want to fight the Conor McGregors, the Nate Diaz, the Jorge Masvidals, but the Michael Chandlers, the Dustin Poirier, Beneil Dariush. I don't want to fight Beneil Dariush ever, but big big name. And then again, you got Makhachev and Oliveira. I want the Oliveira fight back. I got to do everything I can to fight that man again. It was a crazy set of circumstances, and I would love to get that back.
And we'd love to see it, man. All right, Justin. Well, I'll let you get on with it. Appreciate it so much. Very excited, just to see you back and, doing cool stuff like this. It's always great. One of the good guys out there. Can't go wrong with a little bit of the highlight, man. So wish you the best of luck with everything going forward. And, just congrats on being able to breathe and smell things and all that as well. So that's awesome, man. One of my favorites. So it means a lot getting to chat with you. I hope you have a great rest of the day, man.
Yes, sir. You as well. Thanks for your time.
Yes.